Welcome back, everyone. You are joining me for another episode of Real Talk, where I've decided to take the huge leap into the art world, despite the million insecurities that corner me every time. Thank goodness Toby always comes to my rescue and reminds me that all will be okay. Y'all, what would I do without this lovely being? Okay, bad question. Let's not ponder on that. Although I just want to bring you with me and show you nothing but Christmassy things here in Scotland, I need to move along with my studies. So today we are moving on to Brent's next lesson, titled A Simple Still Life on Skillshare. And what is Skillshare? A kick-ass platform where you can take endless amounts of classes in various creative fields. So I got ready to lock in with my supplies around me. Before I hit play on the lesson, I needed to set the vibe. Christmas miniatures lights on? Check. Over the top Christmas diadema on? Check. Toby's Christmas jumper on? Check. Chocolate abuelita made and served? Check. A puerquito to go along my chocolate abuelita? Check. Am I that 39-year-old daughter who gets sent pan dulce from her parents because Scotland has overlooked the fact that panaderias are a slice of heaven? A big yes. Is pan dulce good for your physical health? Well, no. Is pan dulce good for the soul? Absolutely. I would go so far as saying that it heals the soul. But I guess the question I should be asking myself is if I'm spoiled by my parents. Wait, the better question is, how can I not be on the receiving end of so much love? I would say that I'm deserving of any puerquito, concha, piedra, oreja. Just ask my husband. Right, with everything to go, I listened to Brent loud and clear as he drew a still that would use the basic shapes that I had been learning. He chose a candle for its cylinder shape, an orange for its sphere shape, and a box for its cube shape. Before Brent dove into drawing, he explained the techniques of angle sighting and triangulation, both of which are used for accuracy. This was my first time hearing those two terms. Triangulation reminds me of geometry, all those acute and obtuse angles and formulas, and the beautiful reliability of finite answers. Have I always been a big nerd? Yes, I have. Brent explained that angle sighting involves holding your pencil up to the subject being drawn and tilting it until it matches whatever angle you're trying to draw. The pencil is carefully moved down to the drawing. As for triangulation, it's the process of using angle sighting to locate a point in space by triangulating, basically using triangles, to determine its distance and direction from two known points on the drawing. With this explanation, I could already see how helpful these techniques could be. When I'm drawing, the spacing between subjects sometimes is off, and it's quite annoying when I've come so far only to realize that the third subject doesn't fit, or is now wonky because the first two subjects were drawn too big and slightly off center. Could this mean more consistently accurate drawings for me? I believe so. Did I hit the jackpot of solutions? I believe so. Wow, was I really getting excited about triangulation? I was, everyone. The joy of unexpectedly simple solutions is real. I continued to watch the lesson and paused to make sure I wasn't overlooking any of Brent's steps or triangles. I was so impressed by the precision that angle sighting and triangulation gave Brent's still. And when Brent pointed out that even though he didn't pencil in any vanishing points for his still because implementing triangulation would result in 3-point perspective, I had a light bulb moment, or should I say a Christmas lights moment. This feels so mathematical to me. As a newbie in the art world who has taken many mathematical-based courses, I keep being blown away as to how technical drawing really is. While Brent did say that I don't have to be as precise as him with measurements, I just had to play with angle sighting and triangulation. So I got to it, and to play it safe, I decided to position my still in the same manner as Brent's. I gathered a book, a Jack Daniel's shot glass, and an orange. With the blank page in front of me, I chose my starting point and I began. As with my other assignments, I rewatched sections of Brent's lesson to make sure I was on the right track. I held up my drawing pencil multiple times to determine whether my intended angle of a line for the book was roughly accurate. Everyone, I'm not gonna lie here, I sucked at angle sighting. The angles were off every time I doubled and triple checked, which resulted in so much erasing. I continued on thinking my lines and angles made sense. Y'all, that was short-lived. I had to go back and readjust pretty much everything from my starting point for the book. Ugh, how could I be so off? As I worked on extending the top of the book by using angle siding, I ended up with a shape that I thought was okay at first. It wasn't until I had almost completed the shot glass when I realized my eyes had led me astray. Ugh, you guessed it, more erasing followed. Angles were adjusted for like the millionth time. Y'all, I'm missing me a protractor right now. As for the shot glass, I used triangulation to determine its height and position on the book. My only mistake was not making the vertical lines of the cylinder a little more slanted in. Brent's candle is wider than the base of my shot glass. I drew another set of vertical lines in. I was soon pantomiming and finishing off the bottom ellipse of the shot glass. At this point, I really wanted to start over, but then I thought, that wouldn't be real talk. I'm a beginner and the art process isn't pretty at this stage. I'm gonna have to be less than mediocre for a while before I can approximate being good. Doing it for aesthetics only will get me nowhere, and I think it's way more interesting to invite y'all at each stage, starting from ground zero or ground -100. Just when I was about to wrap this orange up, a package arrived. Y'all, the biggest box of hobbycraft arrived. Better believe it was filled with more Christmassy materials. More on this on my next episode. I decided to extend this break for a bit longer and flip through a book titled Great Walk Scotland. Hill walking has become a huge passion for me since I moved to Scotland, and it's usually this year when I begin planning my adventures for next year. And because Toby's our mountain leader, I can't help but involve him in the planning and research. As I saw the day was flying by, I decided to switch focus and allocate some time to one of my illustrations. My screen switched from Skillshare to Pinterest. The rest of the day was filled with color. No peeking just yet. I'm trying to add a bit more of my culture to the scene in a different way. Looking forward to what y'all think. I got right back to the orange the next day. The weather was uninspiring, but my spirits were high, mainly due to the Jack Black energy I was getting from my coffee and the échale ganas energy I was getting from another puerquito that my parents had packaged and sent over. Y'all, my parents are always in the background of my mind. Sometimes it just takes a sniff of a puerquito to remind me of the values that I grew up with. How can I not have a good day with this combo? So the slight hurdle I was having with the orange was its height. I had to pause and refer back to the lesson. I found it and watched it and exhaled with ease. Brent, you're just nailing it with the solutions today. I had completely forgotten that Brent had mentioned the enveloping technique. This technique is a classical strategy where the subject is framed within a simple geometric shape using a few straight lines to capture its overall size, angles, and proportions, making complex forms easier to manage before adding details, controlling scale, and ensuring accuracy. So I followed what Brent did, and I drew a line from the left side of the ellipse of the shot glass and stopped where roughly I believed was the top of the orange. The pressure was on, and I felt it. I then drew my circle and the two axis lines. After drawing my two ellipses, my sphere was complete. I darkened the lines of all my subjects, and I saw what Brent meant regarding the enveloping technique. I had lines that enveloped the entire still life into one simple shape. Isn't that neat? My still life took me a while, like most of Brent's assignments, but I enjoyed myself. It was pretty cool to apply all the basic principles to a drawing. The sphere, cylinder, and cube are truly the building block shapes to all subjects. I can't unsee it now. This is what I love. Acquiring a new perspective because I'm engaging in a different field of study. Sure, stepping outside my comfort zone is scary and humbling, but for me, experiencing moments of growth are so worth feeling like an idiot sometimes. It's kind of like my life here in Scotland. I didn't think I would ever genuinely consider it my home. 3 years ago, whenever I referred to home, I was thinking of my parents' home in Chicago. It wasn't until I started to fully commit to my life here did I realize how much I needed Scotland and everyone that has come with it. If you would have told my 21-year-old self that I would end up living on the other side of the world, far removed from my community, culture, and family, and yet I would be the healthiest version of myself, I would have laughed and then cried harder. Y'all, embracing change has allowed me to heal and work on myself. So I'm going to continue on this art journey and heal because I deserve to know who I am. Thanks for the company, everyone. I want to extend a big thank you to Skillshare. Your platform is changing my life. And Brent, thank you for the awesome lesson. Okay, right. I'm going to have the rest of this puerquito because I have a suspicion that someone might be looking for more than just a taste.